Yeah, hi. So basically, I want to present what has recently happened in zfit and what recent user contributions have put inside zfit. And I would also like to welcome people that there are a few issues that we have contributors wanted, and you can find them here under the issues under zfit. So whether someone wants to help with adding new PDFs or like helping with documentation, helping with quicker uncertainties for weighted data, and the largest one, which is to implement different unfolding methods. People are welcome to get in contact with zfit team and just try tackle any one of those issues. So I just want to briefly just showcase what has recently happened in zfit and what has changed, and so that people know how to migrate their code. So I just want to just start by importing some basic stuff, basically what Jonas said in the entire talk. And yeah, the first bigger difference, the biggest change comes to the parameters. Now parameters with the same name are allowed. This wasn't allowed before. You would get a name already taken error, which is gone. And that also means that you can keep rerunning this cell and or rerunning a simple fit, which I'm doing here, like in a couple of lines. And before, if I were to rerun this cell, I would get an error, so I had to restart the kernel. Now I can run this multiple times, and I'm much happier. So, and now what zfit does is it currently updates the parameter default values after minimization. And in order to keep this behavior in the future, you'll want to use this dot update params during your after your minimize call. So yeah. Then another change is that the results can now be pickled. Jonas also showed this, and you can use this dill dumps and dill load utility, and you can use them. You can use it quickly, which is like it extends pickle, and yeah, and you can dump objects and keep reloading them, and that's nice. Now parameters also include this label that Jonas also showed, and you can add them you can add like a LaTeX like label, and you can gonna be good for plotting. And as you can see, I use the same name here, and it also works just fine. And now also zfit space has seen major improvements and changes, and there's also a GitHub discussion thread explaining those changes that I'm showing here. Now, the new truncated PDF supports multiple spaces and achieves similar, if not better, functionality. And the return type of space.limit will be changed in the future. For forwards compatibility, you should use v1.limit instead of space.limit, and the old one is still there in v0. So what has happened here is basically like now you can also you can create space with multiple observables by multiplying the two. And now this old one would just create these types of arrays, while the new one just creates returns 1D arrays when you call limits. So now this makes it more intuitive and allows you to do things like np.space and use this star thing limit and get a nice dimensionality, because if you use the v0, you would get 7, 1, 2. Well, you will want, well, this is much better now. So it's now it operates in a more intuitive way. Okay, data handling has changed, and basically you can directly take NumPy arrays, as Jonas showed, pandas, data frames, tensors, and so on. And you can now also use this nice concatenate method to combine data, as I'm doing over here. And the individual obs can be accessed by this like get item call. And now you can access multiple, and this will return a NumPy array of shape n, or a NumPy array of n, 2, because I'm accessing both of them, obs2 and obs1 here. Okay. Using a bin space has now the effect of creating a bin version, and this happens to both data and PDF. So you can just say some data with obs, and this is a binned object, or like the same in the PDF, and that will create and will return the object that is return is binned. And it's the same functionality if you have used the PDF here instead of data. Now, another big change is that a lot of PDFs have been added, and if you go now into the zfit and zfit-physics PDF, this list has been significantly extended recently, and a new truncated PDF has also been added, and you can convert any PDF to truncate it and truncate the PDF New PDFs are like generalized crystal ball, Voigt profile has been added, Bernstein polynomials, Q-Gauss, CMS shape, Krujev, Novosibirsk, Tsalis, and so on. And yeah, so now you can look at this truncated PDF. You can basically just to do PDF to truncate it and put some limits here, and that will cut your PDF from 0 to 3 and set it to 0 elsewhere. Or you can do you can put multiple ranges here, and that will truncate it in both of those ranges. So now you have only these. You now only cut a lot of parts of the PDF. You remain with these two chunks. You cut out multiple parts of the PDF. So yeah, and bin PDFs from space work like the data, and now you can call also these things into NumPy into pandas, and you can get yeah, you can get pandas and NumPy versions back. Okay. And then now the new thing also is these parameters are as arguments that you can pass them here. This wasn't previously a feature, so you can pass parameters using a dictionary, or the key can be either a string or the parameter itself, or a parameter sigma, and you can set its value and you can plot the PDF those values. So you can now you can quickly set a parameter to a value as using this params argument. And okay, and I would like to move on. So the final part is basically like a brief example of how one would write their own PDF. And the reason for that I'm showcasing this is that I've heard people that say a lot of times that oh, I cannot use that for this example because this PDF is not implemented, and I want to just showcase like that it's very simple for someone to add their own PDF. First of all, imagine someone wants to create their own Gaussian, which is the same. You just need to inherit from this zfit-based PDF. You need to create an init method with their parameters and initialize the superclass, and then you need to add a underscore PDF method that tells you how to compute the Gaussian. And okay, you can get some values. You can initialize it like you normally would with parameters and so on, and you can get some values, and you can also register an integral. And it's a dummy integral. It's not a proper Gaussian integral. It's like it needs to be scalar, but I added the mean times the STD as a analytic integral, and you can register it to the PDF. Okay, and you can also use any PDF that is part of TensorFlow probability, because zfit is using TensorFlow in the backend. So suppose you want to use the Johnson SU PDF that maybe, or something else that is part of TensorFlow probability. We have a convenient wrap distribution superclass. So you basically need to initialize it, and then you need to define how the parameters from the PDF you define in zfit, like mu, lambda, gamma, and delta, map to the parameters names that TensorFlow probability has. So in this example, TensorFlow probability uses skewness, tail weight, lock, and scale. So this parameter returns a mapping between the two parameters. And you can tell that, oh, your distribution is the one from TensorFlow probability, and you can init it with this is the distribution, this is the parameters, and everything else is just default arguments going in. And you can run it and execute it, and it should work fine. And I should also know that Johnson was actually added into zfit in the latest release. Okay. And if I can go over in 1 minute, how, like, if you want to get started with zfit, you can go into the zfit repo. You can follow the contributing guide. It will basically tell you everything you need to know. You need to fork your repo, clone it, install it in editable mode, and then you can, create a new branch, implement your feature, write your test it, and you can create a pull request. And okay, and very quickly, so suppose someone wants to add a PDF, they would have to go into zfit, into models, and maybe implement their PDF. So we have a file with TensorFlow distributions, or maybe, another file for physics distributions, and they would have to maybe implement their PDF. So like, let's say how the crystal ball is implemented. So a crystal ball function is implemented, a crystal ball integral is implemented, and then you go and maybe define the class, your init method, some doc string here, and yeah, the PDF just basically returns this. You also need to make it HS3 serializable. So you would need to write something like this, like a repro class, and then you can register your analytic integral from the function that calculates the integral previously. And then you would just basically need to go into tests, and you can go you can go and write your test. Basically, you can follow any one of those test files, and to show you how you can write a test. Maybe you want to write, let's try something different. Uh, I can search for, yeah, test PDF Johnson SU, which was recently added. Yeah, and you can follow any of these maybe and write a different test. We basically test the PDF and the integral, and we can test like versus some known, maybe, the Johnson SU from SciPy, and whether we get the same results. So yeah, and then you need to make your pull request. So if you want to get started with any of those issues that I showed previously, feel free to contact the zfit team, and yeah, well, we'll be happy to help along. So yeah, this has been my talk, and thank you very much.
Okay, thanks very much for that nice overview. Let's go to Zoom to see if we have any questions. If not, I guess I'll. Oh, okay, we have one from Eduardo. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Raj. So the obvious one, which is since you were kind of fishing for contributions, do you have a list of issues, for example, where you list the kind of models that are not there that you would like to have in your wish list?
When it comes to PDFs,
Yeah.
yeah, it's this issue called additions to new PDFs.
Okay. Yes.
And we also have like a good first issue and help wanted tags for those issues. So basically, it's been a list of PDFs that would be nice to have. A lot of them have been implemented here, but there's more that can be added. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, exactly what I was asking. Yeah. Sorry for being lazy. I could have checked. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good though to get that up on screens for people to see. Where we go. So, okay, I don't see any other hands, so maybe I'll ask one that goes a little bit beyond what you showed here today. So today you gave this very nice overview about how for people to basically get started working on things, making contributions to ZFit. But would you be interested in just making a general comment on the kind of future development with ZFit 2, or is that sufficiently out of scope for today's workshop?
I didn't understand what was exactly the question about ZFit 2?
Oh, well, so this development is that you're showing here and like and demoing for people how to kind of get going. This is for the current release, or basically like the current head of ZFit. But is ZFit 2 development happening in this repository, or would this be or is the ZFit 2 work for supporting JAX, is that being done separately?
So I think Jonas can comment more on that because he's will be leading the development for the ZFit 2. So I don't think I would like to answer this.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
I can maybe
I think maybe I'll let you go ahead and answer, Jonas, but I think that probably my question is sufficiently out of scope then.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
so there's absolutely development going on to get it to checks, but there are like still some challenges in a bit of the design because we want to have it integrated with all the other libraries and stuff like that, and we're developing that in ZFit 2 / some random places. Because the point is it's kind of two things. One is the more technical, how do we get things right, and that we're still iterating and just have a lot of trial and error. And the other thing is content. And the nice thing about it, content is anything that is added now to ZFit, let's say shapes or anything, it's super easy to transfer that. Like these are just the numerical implementations. We can basically just copy paste them to ZFit 2. So in this sense, it's two parallel developments, but anything added in ZFit now will also go to ZFit 2 in terms of PDFs.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and I think we're trying to make them as compatible as possible so that it's very simple to change to ZFit 2, for instance. Like basically, I think that the reason that Jonas said like to use this ZNP, and I also said in the beginning here in the talk, I have a comment, please use ZNP if possible. I think it's just basically because ZNP will be just replaced by the JAX NumPy. Well, now it's basically the TensorFlow experimental NumPy interface.
exactly.
So if you use like just like a word replacement, then you get the JAX version of it. Yeah.